Like, it's not good to beat yourself up and to have negative self-talk and to, like, be mean to yourself over things that are out of your control. Like, a lot of the times...
Well, let's talk about these expectations you're putting on yourself, because you already mentioned, and we talked about this in depth offline earlier before we hit record, but you were talking about how, I felt like my set was terrible. It was just so bad, but people came up to me and said it was really good. Both people that you knew and people that you didn't know were telling you how great it was, and you were sitting there just like, that was bad. And I was trying to tell you, like, I think that's great because it shows that you hold yourself to such a high standard. Now, where the problem comes in, how I see it, is that we as humans, when we hold ourselves to such high standards, we beat ourselves up over it. Like, what we need to do is recognize that that's good and that we care about our work and we know what we're capable of, and be like, next time I'm going to do better, versus this negative self-talk we get into.
Yeah, but I have this kind of wavering thought around that, because like we did discuss that, and on one hand I agree, like it's not good to beat yourself up and to have negative self-talk and to like be mean to yourself over things that are out of your control. Like, a lot of the times, like, even like I was listening to Tom Segura talk about this. He had just recorded this last special on Netflix he had that came out called Disgraceful. Freaking hilarious. One of the best ever. I mean, he is one of the best stand-ups to ever do it, and it's a great special. And like a week after he'd recorded it for Netflix, he was doing that same material that's on that special and got booed off stage.
Wow.
Like, it's just the context, the set, the setting. I mean, it's a lot like psychedelics. Like, the set and the setting like are such a big part of it, but even then it's still not always in your control.
Right.
And so, like,
surrender.
Yeah, but so like, I find that even though I do beat myself up about it and I get really down on myself, that pushes me to a place where I have found that the only way I can get out of that is to go and do well.
Right.
And
which is my point.
But so it wasn't until comedy that I found something that was like that. Because I've had all these other jobs, and anytime I've done poorly in a job, I felt that same way. Like, oh, that sucks. I hate not doing well. I like doing a good job.
Right.
I'm a fucking person.
You take pride. Yeah.
Like, I want to do like my best in anything that I do, and when I don't,
or
do my
why
best,
do it at all then?
Yeah. But like, sometimes like you do like your very best, and then it doesn't come out right, and then you're like, well, I don't want to try that again, because like even if it had gone great, it wouldn't have been, all that much fun. So like, it's such a weird thing that when I found comedy, like even when it doesn't go well, I still want to keep doing it. I want to get back into it. So, I don't know. I think that's...
they say people, the number one fear in America, I think it's in America, right, is public speaking, right? I mean, comedy is public speaking to the extreme.
It's definitely very interesting to see. So I was getting a super awesome massage while I was in Austin at this place, and it was like, not like just like here, let me push on you a little bit massage. It was like, let me find like these fascia and like all of these things that I don't know because I didn't go to that school, but I trust these people because they have oils and crystals. And so like,
right. I heard some about that too.
So this dude is like pushing on stuff, and then he's like, do you have like a dangerous job? And I was like, no. And he's like, well, I can tell just like from where the stress is balled up on you that you like go into like a fight or flight response constantly.
Wow.
And I was like, what do you mean? He's like, I mean, like you got to be doing something like every day that just terrifies you. And I was like, oh God. And they made me think like my lizard brain inside there when I'm doing comedy thinks that the crowd's gonna kill me, and it's literally like, oh shit. So like you can see that happens with a lot of people, and I think it's cool to watch how you develop that. I mean, it's the same thing as martial arts. Like, they develop martial arts because you do like the Zen-like activity, like Tai Chi, and then when you are like really good at the fighting part of like Tai Chi Chuan, the like martial art version of it, then if you're in a super stressful situation, you're able to be calm because you have experience there. And it's the same thing with comedy. Like, I put myself in a fight or flight response every single night. So if I'm like in danger, I can still giggle and make jokes about it. Like, someone could pull a knife on me and they'd be like, oh, it's a stage.
Yeah, you're pretty much in your zone. You're in your element, right?
Yeah.
So what's going on in your brain, like from the moment like you have a set that night to being backstage to getting on stage to being nervous about a joke that you think didn't land the right way? Like what are the games your mind is playing with you?
Boy, howdy. I think that if you were to take a look in there, it would look deeply schizophrenic. It depends on how much importance I've labeled to that event. So, like, the first time I was doing a show at the Comedy Store, excuse me, I like, through a friend of a friend, was able to connect with this amazing comedian who booked shows there. They gave me a chance to basically sell enough tickets to earn more time. So I could do, like, 3 minutes, but if I sold X amount of tickets, I got another minute, et cetera, et cetera. And it's the Comedy Store. It's the best place on earth.
It's amazing.
It's my first opportunity to perform there. And, like, the day leading up to that, I'm, freaking out. I went to go get a haircut. Like, I'm, like, picking out, like, my favorite outfits. Like, anything to give me any kind of confidence.
Right.
Just to have, like, a physical token of, like, self-esteem. Like, I like, one of the things I cling on to is this idea that you gain self-esteem through esteemable action. And, like, when you do things that give you esteem, like taking care of yourself, taking care of, like, your appearance, or taking care of, like, stuff you're supposed to do, like, it makes you feel better about yourself. So if I'm in a place where I'm feeling, like, weak about me, or I'm nervous or scared about what's coming up, like, I go and, like, just superficially, I'm like, well, I'm get a haircut, wear a nice outfit, and that looks better.
Right.
Like, and it just, these, like, it's amazing how much different I feel if I, like, just don't have this disgusting, like, 3-day neckbeard growth.
Would you say how much better you feel?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like, just like those little things. So, like,
totally.
Leading up to a show, all of that is going through my head, and I'm, thinking about that. The jokes start to seep in about an hour and a half beforehand, when it's like, all right, these are what I should do. This is where I'm going to go with it. And
visualization, then, probably.
Yeah, quite a bit. I visualize it the whole day, and I visualize other events that I've done and other stages I've been on, and, like, I listen to an obsessive amount of my audio. So my voice memos on my phone, I've got so many hours of just my voice.
Right.
Which is awful to listen to, by the way. Like, if you want to, like, explore self-hatred, like, listen to yourself talk a lot.
Yeah, but you get used to it too, and we're always our own worst critics in anything we do. But yeah, go on.
I wish some people had worse critics than themselves, though, because, like, they need it. You know what I'm saying?
Right. Yeah, constructive feedback, all that type of stuff.
But yeah, so then, like, the thing that still trips me out is leading up to a show. Right before I walk on stage, I know what I wanted to say, and I might have, like, what I write down as my set list, which is just, like, here's the jokes, maybe, like, one of the, like, tags or, like, one of the little funny parts of it to, like, remind me of where I'm going with it, and then, like, something that I can use as a segue between these bits that I want to talk about. But even when I get up there, if something funny has just happened in the room or something funny pops into my head, there's almost no telling the first words that are going to come out of my mouth. Like, I would not be comfortable staking any amount of money on the first word to come out of my mouth anytime I'm getting on stage. Just because it's
a good thing, right?
Well, I mean, it depends. Like,
for a comic, I feel like.
Yeah, but, like, if I wanted to do, like network television, I wanted to get on, like, a late night show.
Right.
You have to say, it's like a TED Talk. You got to tell them verbatim.
But is that something you want to do?
I want to make it as a comedian. So
you want to make it?
I don't really. I'm not attached to
whatever
what
you
that
need
looks
to do.
like.
Right.
What I'm attached to is getting the opportunity to do comedy in a way that is financially feasible. That's my dream.
So
I don't care what it looks like.
Is that your definition of making it as a comedian?
Yeah.
Yeah.
And, like, of course I have the grandiose stuff, but, like, I know what good comedy is. Like, when I go to a show, I can pick out who is the funniest one there. And, like, we all can, like, say what's funny, but, like, I would like to think at this point, with the hundreds and hundreds of hours of comedy I've listened to and watched, that, like, I have a better eye for that kind of stuff. So I know when my jokes are doing really well and what's a really good joke and what isn't. And, like, I have plenty of jokes that'll never make it onto a stage, or they'll just sit there until it's relevant for that specific moment. But, like, I will know when I am at the level that I want to be at, and it won't really be dependent on anything other than my performance.
Right.
And so that's the goal. And I assume that it's tied to financial independence, and that's what I would like it to be. But that would be making it. But what I will deem myself successful is if I know that I am performing at the level I'd like to be at.